What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. I think I can say for many of us out there that we have been waiting for this makeup moment for quite some time. Mother Pat McGrath has finally graced us with these beautiful bronzers. This is the Skin Fetish Divine Bronzer Collection. There are 8 shades. I'm going to be reviewing for you guys today the 2 lightest shades. So I have Naked Desire and also Nude Honey. I'm going to be applying these to my face, letting you guys know, do these work for fair skin? Who are these good for? How do these compare to other bronzers that are out on the market? And is this something that is worth picking up for the $39 price point? So if you guys want to hear all of my thoughts and a little review of these bronzers, then keep watching. All right, party people, let's get into it. Do me a favor, if you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Everything in this video, whatever's on my face, the brushes I use, the products we talk about, it's all going to be linked down below. I do use affiliate links, and if you are new here, hi, my name's Sophia. Consider subscribing to my channel. I am an absolute beauty addict. I love to review mostly like Sephora and higher end brands, helping you guys figure out if it's worth your money. So if you want to join our fam, hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, let's talk about these new bronzers. Like I said, these are called the Skin Fetish Divine Bronzers. They are $39. I bought mine off the Pat McGrath website. They are going to be available at Sephora, and they will be available for the Sephora sale, but they don't have all of the shades at Sephora. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in my final thoughts. All of these are vegan. They're made in Italy. 7 of the 8 shades are a demi-matte formula. And then one of the shades, which is, I believe, Desert Glow, it's the very middle shade in the range. That one has a pearlescent sheen to it. So kind of keep that in mind. If you don't want a pearlescent sheen, don't get that shade. I also do want to mention, for those of you who are concerned, these do have talc. So if you are a talc-free person, you might want to skip this specific release. On the Pat McGrath website, these are described as being a micro velvet powder. They are blurring and perfecting. They are buildable, mistake-proof application as well. So we'll find out if all of those claims are true. Let me show you guys the 2 shades that I got. Like I said, I have the 2 lightest shades. Up first, we have Naked Desire. This is described as a soft golden bronze. This is supposed to go well with the foundation in the shades light 1 to light 5. Now, just so you guys know, I'm like light 5, light 6. I'm wearing the foundation in light 6 today. So I'm kind of like on the cusp of both of these. So theoretically, I should be able to use both of these. I'll just kind of put that out there for reference. I will also list down below some shades of some other popular foundations that I wear, so you guys can see if maybe like we're shade twins or anything close like that. The other shade that I picked up is shade number 2. This is called Nude Honey, and it is described as a neutral bronze. This is supposed to pair well with folks who wear her foundation in the shades light 5 to light medium 10. Just right out of the gate, friends, when I opened these up, my first reaction was like, geez, these look very, very light. I'll show you an image here of what these look like side by side. Just looking at them together in the pan, not only do they look pretty light, but they also look pretty similar. So that scared me a little bit, but I do want to show you guys some side-by-side swatches right now. I think that the texture is very similar to that of the blushes, if that is a formula that you enjoy. I absolutely love the Pat McGrath blushes. I have pretty much every single color. The shades do look super similar, but 100% they are different. They don't look as similar swatched as they do in the pan. Thank goodness. I think that Naked Desire, that lighter shade on top, it's super natural for sure. Natural in the sense that it's very light. I think it's going to work well for fair skin tones. Nude Honey, on the other hand, since it was described as a neutral bronze, I was kind of surprised that this wasn't more neutral. This is the only shade in the range, just looking at the colors and the descriptions, that seems to be the most neutral. And this one actually comes across as a little bit warmer, a little bit peachier than I was expecting. In fact, I want to show you guys some quick comparisons of other bronzers that I have in my collection before we get into the demo, so you guys can kind of go into the demo with a sense of like the tones that these are giving off. The first 2 comparisons I have are the new Hermes bronzer in the shade Atlas and this Guerlain Terracotta Light in the shade Light Warm. Notice how these are considerably warmer. Like when I first swatched these ones from Pat McGrath, I was like, these are kind of warm. But then when I looked at them up against these other 2 that are very much more in like the warmer category as far as very natural, light, sun-kissed, like fair skin style of bronzers go, I kind of changed my mind. I was like, actually, they're really not that warm. I also have for you friends a comparison with this Dior Forever bronzer that I recently reviewed for you guys in my Dior summer review. This is in the shade 003 Soft Bronze. Once again, this is also warmer. It's also deeper. The Dior Forever range, by the way, if you like super natural bronzers, this is a really good option for you. I highly recommend 004 if you want something that's more neutral. They have two other colors in this range that are lighter. These Pat McGrath bronzers do kind of remind me a little bit of this Dior range, but at least in regards to 003, this is a little bit warmer and darker than these two shades from Mother. Now for one of my favorite bronzers ever, this is the Victoria Beckham bronzer in the shade 02. When I looked at these up against the Victoria Beckham duo in the pan, I thought they looked incredibly similar. Let me show you the swatch comparisons here. I actually think that the ones from Pat McGrath, they're very similar to these Victoria Beckham ones. I think the Victoria Beckham ones are just a little bit darker and maybe a tad more neutral, just a little bit. If you guys are interested in these Victoria Beckham bronzers, by the way, I do have a video swatching these 01 and 02 shades, so I can link that down below in case you guys want to sort of check out those tones as well. But I think that it's kind of closer to what we're getting here from Pat McGrath. And then the last comparison that I have for you guys, which is probably the closest, is another one of my favorite bronzers, and this is from Wayne Goss. This is in the shade Light Gold, which is the lightest shade from his range. This is more of like a bronzer and contour duo, so I did include the contour shade there just so you can see how much cooler it is. But the bronzer shade from Wayne Goss, it's very similar to the shades from Pat McGrath, maybe like a little bit in between, and it also has shimmer. This is more of like an illuminating glowy bronzer. So if you really like soft natural bronzers and you want something that adds a little bit more like glow and blurring, I think the Wayne Goss is much better for that. But just for comparison, guys, it's kind of like in the same shade range. So anyway, friends, I hope those comparisons were helpful. Now we're going to get into the demo. Hopefully this will help you sort of see right off the bat, these colors, they're not super warm, but they're also not super neutral either. So let's head on into the demo. All right, friends, let's demo these bronzers. I have a couple of different brushes here. I will link them down below so we can see just how buildable these bronzers are. I'm going to start off with Naked Honey, the lighter of the two shades. This is the lightest shade in the line, and I'm going to start off with a little bit of like a fluffier brush. And I want to show you guys right from the start, hopefully you can see that there is quite a bit of like kick up in the pan. I'm just kind of tapping my brush and it's puffing up a little bit. Some people don't like that, but you can see it did pick up a good amount of product right from the start. I am right in front of a window, so I'm filming everything in natural light so you guys can kind of see this in the most realistic way possible. This is actually a lot more pigmented than I think I thought it was going to be, and it has a very natural, slight like honeyed warmth to it. I mean, the other one is called Nude Honey, so we'll see how that one looks, but this one has a really nice like natural character to it, and I do want to see if we can maybe build this up in the case that maybe some of you are a little bit deeper skin tone than me. It blends out super nicely, like barely, didn't even have like any patchiness really. Okay, so you guys can kind of see the difference there between the side that has nothing and then the side that has Naked Desire. Let's see if I can build this up a little bit more. So right here I have a larger buffer brush. This is more densely packed. I tend to use this a lot with baked formulas and other products that are a little bit lighter because I feel like it kind of really packs on the color, if that makes sense. So let's try it with this shade and see if we can build it up. I definitely think that it does. I think I really like this color. I'm gonna put a little bit down here and notice how it's a pretty matte texture. It's not really the most glowy. It's described, I believe, as a demi matte, and I would say that that is very much true. So I'll stand back 1 second. This is what it looks like with 2 layers of the bronzer and then nothing on this side. Now let's go in with Nude Honey on the other side of the face. I'm doing it one side on each because I think that's going to be the best way to see the subtle differences. Okay, so automatically we see it's definitely deeper and a little bit more pigmented. Could be because I didn't swirl my brush enough, but I think this will be able to show us just how easy it is to buff it into the skin. This side, it has kind of more of a neutrality to it. This side is a little bit more golden and this side is a little bit peachier. Hopefully you guys will notice that. It's also just slightly darker. I think it's a lot more evident than when you look at these side by side in the pan, because when you look at them in the pan, they really, they look like almost the same, guys. I'm almost a little bit afraid to see if we can build this one up, but I'm gonna add a little bit more because I definitely think that we can. I think it built up, but I also think that it was pretty pigmented right from the jump. So this might be the kind of situation if you are fairer than me, or, you know, if you just don't like the way that it kind of went on in one splotch, I would just tap it like on the back of your hand just to kind of like really work it into the brush, and that'll avoid that little dreaded splot right on the face when you first apply it. I know some of you guys were wondering if you could use this second shade Nude Honey more so as like a contour or a bronzer, so I thought I would dip into this and use it on this side in conjunction with the Naked Desire to see how that looks. My goodness, like these are pretty pigmented. I had a feeling that they were going to be more pigmented than they looked in the pan, and I do think that the two colors are different enough that you can definitely tell the difference between them when they go onto the face. I think the question here is, what kind of contour or bronzer do you prefer? Do you like something that's super neutral, or are you okay with it looking a little bit peachy? I'm not really mad about how it looks. This is more of like a natural blended look, and then when I turn here, it's a little bit more of like that sculpted look. I normally go in with a more cooler tone contouring product like the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate or the Westman Atelier Face Tray Stick in the shade Biscuit. I usually go more for that, but there are a lot of you out there that like to just use your bronzer more so kind of like around the perimeter of the face and the hollows of the cheeks. So I wanted to show this to you as well in case it makes a difference, but I'll get close up so you can see that second shade. So comment down below, let me know what you guys think. Now let's head over to my final thoughts. All right, friends, I hope this has been helpful. Now it is time for my final thoughts. What do I think of these bronzers, the formula, the colors? Do you need them? Should you get them in the Sephora sale? Well, I am actually really surprised. I absolutely love these. I think they are bomb. I think they're super beautiful. I don't even know why I'm surprised, friends, because I love the blushes. I love the powder products from Pat McGrath. I am a Pat McGrath fan, but I don't feel obligated to say that I love these, but I actually really do. I think the formula is super velvety. It is a little bit mistake proof. I mean, you saw in the demo how easily it blended out. I think it has a really nice demi matte look to the skin. My skin looks like toasted and illuminated, but it doesn't look shimmery. It doesn't highlight texture. It doesn't look dull. It's kind of doing everything that I want from a bronzer. It's sort of a good medium between my favorite Wayne Goss bronzer and my favorite Victoria Beckham bronzers that I showed you guys in the comparisons, because it's a demi matte. Good job, mother. When I first looked at them in the pan, I was a little concerned. I thought they were going to be dusty. I'm not kidding. As soon as I put this on the skin, you guys saw it did have quite a bit of impact. You can blend it out easily. You can build it up. Overall, amazing formula, I think. Now, given all of that, friends, I want to do a quick reality check. I don't think that you necessarily need to run out and get these. All of the bronzers that I showed you in the comparisons today, I absolutely love. I'm happy with. I didn't necessarily need another bronzer. I needed to get this. I needed to review this for you guys because I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, and I want to help you guys figure out if these shades are going to work for you. But for the average consumer, or for even my makeup lovers, my makeup addicts who are out there, if you have bronzers that you are happy with, I don't think that this is so different than other high-performing bronzers that are out there that you necessarily need to get it. If you're interested in these and you really like the look of the tones, then I would consider maybe picking these up in the Sephora sale. $39, it's a little bit on the pricier, and it's about the same amount as those new NARS talc-free bronzers that came out. So she's pretty much in line with other brands that are kind of in that, like, you know, more luxury or higher end category at Sephora. If you are really interested in these, I would say go by the color. Like, if you think the color is really going to work for you, maybe you have had trouble finding like a really natural bronzer for fair skin and you can save 15 to 20% at Sephora in the sale, then pick these up. The other thing too is that Pat McGrath has so many sales on her website. They might be full price now, but you know, friends, if you wait a little bit longer, maybe closer towards the summertime where there's not really as many new releases going on, I bet you can get these for like 25, 30, maybe at some point this year, even 40% off. So if you have bronzers that you're happy with, use those, use them up, and then whenever the time is right, you can pick up one of these maybe in a Pat McGrath sale. Which brings me to my other point, friends. They don't have all the colors on the Sephora website, which is a little bit annoying. You know, I don't think that they have Nude Honey, but they do have Naked Desire. I feel like that was a little bit lame. I think that if it's the situation of maybe blushes where it's, you know, more of like a color and all the colors can work for a lot of different skin tones, I think that makes sense to have an exclusive shade on your personal website. But if it's like a foundation or a powder or a bronzer where we want to give everybody access to their perfect shade, that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Comment down below if you agree. Let me know what your thoughts are there. I do want to quickly comment on each of these shades, however, starting off with the lighter shade, Naked Desire. I was worried about this, number one, being too light, and number two, being too warm. But I actually really like it. It's not as warm as some of my other bronzers in my collection, so that was comforting to me. Also, it is light, it is, but it's very natural. It has a really, really beautiful finish. I don't think that it's too light for me. Some people were saying this is gonna look like, you know, just like a finishing powder on your face. I don't think it does. I think it adds a nice little bit of warmth. That being said, if you are darker than light 6, if you like something that really has a little bit more color to it, maybe more warmth to it, this isn't really gonna be the right shade for you. But I do think it works really nicely for those of us who are in like the light 1 to light 5 category. If you're super fair, this is gonna be, I think, a really good bronzer for you. Now, if you are looking for something that is this light, but is a little bit more like neutrally toned, one bronzer I would check out are those new NARS talc-free ones, because they have a new shade in that line called Laguna 00. I'll put it up here. I'll put the shade range up here so you can see. That one looks just as light as this, but it looks a lot cooler. I'm gonna try and pick that one up in the Sephora sale. I've been planning on doing kind of like a new bronzer roundup for you guys. I did that last year with cream bronzers. I'd love to do it this year with powder bronzers. So comment down below if that's something you want, because I have like kind of accumulated quite a few bronzers this spring and summer season. So those are my thoughts on Naked Desire. Now let's talk about Nude Honey. I thought this was going to be a lot more neutral. This is really not that neutral. It's not. It has more of a peachy quality to it. I don't think it looks orangey. I don't think it is too warm on my skin tone, but I wouldn't describe this as neutral. You know what is way more neutral than this? The Tom Ford Terra bronzer and the Gucci bronzer in the lightest shade, which is called Fair. Those are the two most neutral bronzers that I have in my collection. Unfortunately, I don't have them with me today, but I have reviewed those for you guys before. You can find both of those at Sephora and a lot of other retailers. I know I keep talking about these bronzers and I haven't tried them yet, but this one looks very, very similar to the NARS Laguna 01, which is the second lightest shade in that line. So I am also going to try and pick up that one and see if it is close to this. At the end of the day, I actually really like both of these shades. I'm going to use both of them, but I think I'm just going to use them based off my mood and my looks. They are buildable, as you guys saw. So if you use a denser brush, you can get a little bit more impact. So keep that in mind as well. I don't think that I would necessarily use Naked Desire as like a contour shade. I think it's a little bit too warm just for my taste. And I also think that Nude Honey, I think it does, you know, look good in that way. But I think for me, I'm probably just going to continue to use my cooler tone contour shade. I actually went in with the Westman Atelier on this side where we had Nude Honey, just to kind of show you guys you can still create a little bit of like a shadow there with a different product that's a little bit more well suited for contour. And with that, friends, the last point that I want to make about the Divine Bronzer line is that it does seem like it is a line that is designed to give more warmth to the skin. All of the bronzers seem to be fairly warm leaning. There's really not a lot of options in this line. If you want something that is more neutral, if you want something that is more like a contour. So I think that's one of the biggest considerations that you need to have. The formula I think is beautiful. I like these two shades. I think they are gorgeous. But if you want something more neutral, I really would steer you more in the direction of like the Tom Ford Terra bronzer or the Gucci bronzer. At least in the fair shade, I know it is much, much more neutral. All right, friends, that is all I have for you today. Now it is your turn. Sound off in those comments down below. Let me know what you think about these shades. Which of the colors did you like best on my skin tone? I know a lot of you guys, you have gotten your bronzers already and you're kind of testing out the shades. So let us know what your experience has been, okay? What is your foundation color? What shade do you think works best for you? Also, do you think you're going to be picking these up in the Sephora sale? I would love to know. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, friends, I hope that you see some beauty in your day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.